Hey, we got the squirrel here. How you doing? He says, come on, Dad, get this room finished up. Our next step, I'm going to go ahead and start on the hardwood. And I realize we got the tiles down now. They pop up pretty easy. They are glued down. And so that makes the floor a little sticky underneath. I don't want to go with another layer of plywood. I don't want to keep bringing the floor up. And the reason is, when you get over to the edge of the carpet in the other room, which is also coming up, because we're going to do like a tile or something entrance there, I don't want it to be too high. When you get near the doorways, then you're going to run out of room. You see this threshold here is just loose now. I want to be able to come over and not be too high. So, and this floor is nailed. You're following me, squirrel. This floor is nailed and glued, and it doesn't squeak, and that's pretty important. Make sure you got a good subgrade, you know. And what else here? The wood that we chose is Bruce, and it's oak fawn, and it's not a perfect match to the pine, obviously. It's close, similar, but you're never going to get the same with pine, and those are actually birch and pine and, you know, oak. So we're going to have a similar color going on, but this is 3/4 inch, so you can sand it a few times if you need to. Hopefully we won't have to. Tongue and groove. And I was going to try to get some splines so that I can reverse my direction. I can put a spline in here and I can go one direction, turn and come the other direction. But Lowe's had them for 4 weeks to order. I'm like, wow. So I might make some on the table saw if I get in a predicament. So I just slid a few together here. They got natural knots and things in it, which I like. I don't want just a blonde looking kind of floor, you know, it looks too perfect. That's not what lumber is. And then what we want to do, I'm probably not going to show a whole lot of it. People get bored watching an hour video of flooring, but what I want to do is when I come up to a wall, I don't want to butt it. I want to pull it away. I want to keep about, you know, 1/4 to 1/2 inch gap, so that when we take the baseboard that I have to make yet, and we install a baseboard, it covers it. And then you see this is all dusty. We didn't do any dusting yet. I knew we had to do the floor. I have to come up high enough that this had that ugly vinyl glued on, which tears your drywall when you take it off. But we have to come up and cover that edge. I have to make a bevel, a chamfer on the top, and then I have to chamfer my ends so that the 45 matches. I did that in the other room when I did a little remodel, and it worked out pretty nice. The other thing we have to do is you don't bring your wood up and butt your trim. You have to undercut. So you know, flip her over, take your whatever tool you use, either like a back saw, or you could take the oscillator, which I'll probably use, the multi-tool, and just cut them off. This closet, I'm thinking about having it go away. I like closets, but this house has a lot of closets. But this is a bathroom on the other side of this wall, and it's only a half bath, and I'd like to make it a full bath, and to do so I have to take this closet away. And I'd rather have the closet go away in this room. On the outside out here is another closet outside in the garage. So I mean, this closet's everywhere. And then when you enter the other door, the main door, there's a big closet. So coats and things can go over there. This closet is basically filled with, you know, like a broom, a mop, things like that can go somewhere else. They can go out right out in the garage. Right, squirrel? And I think he wants to go out. His brother's out. And so what I want to do here is probably come across basically in a straight line for now. And I'll just continue that across. And that way it doesn't affect this closet until I tear it apart. And when I do so, this is going to be studded, drywalled, and it'll disappear. So that's the intention at this point. And the other thing is, to tear out these tiles, I got to get a straight line so I can set them in here kind of square. But because these tiles are already in a grid pattern and they come down through and they're even on this wall and they end up even, I'm assuming they're pretty straight and even. So I can use these lines to measure to start, because when you come in and you start your floor, if you're off a 1/4 inch, you know, it's going to travel the whole length of the floor. So I need to have a very straight line to start, because that's what it's going to follow. When I get up near the cabinets, I'm going to stop a 1/4 inch short or so, and then the base has to continue, and then there's going to be a kick on the cabinets. The fridge has to come out. It's still pretty dusty, but that's whatever. And I want to start in there and work my way out this way. We can put the fridge back, and we can have the fridge right away. And so, because that's got water in the back. And what else? We're using I got my Boss Stitch flooring nailer. It's a stapler, and it's got the large base on it. So when I bring it in on my flooring, I just bring it in like so. It rolls back and forth, bring it up to your wood. With a large base, you don't tend to tip it up and then, you know, mess up your location of your staple. You bring it in, that's it, you know. Give it a tap, it's air operated. It runs a 2-inch, 15.5 gauge staple. It says staple them every, 16 inches or closer. I'll probably do a lot closer, 12 or closer. The shorter pieces, I just want to make sure that, they're not going to move around. The other thing, when I start off, when we get up near the wall or an object like the kick here, you can't get your tool in there, so you got to come in on an angle with your finish nailer. I'll probably use a 16 gauge 2-inch nail, and when I come in like this shim, I'll probably cut that shim off. At this point it doesn't really matter, but I'll probably run a bead of glue on the floor itself. And so the paper I choose to put down probably won't be under the entire floor. This is on the first level. The basement level is a 9-foot ceiling, and it's dry, very dry. I've never had any moisture, and I've been here for 12 years. Never had any moisture. I have a dehumidifier running. I got it on 50%. It won't even turn on. It's pretty dry, so I'm not all concerned about a vapor barrier everywhere. But if I put a bead of glue or construction adhesive, put that down and do this edge, I won't be able to get a nail straight down into that, under the kick. Once we get out here a couple rows, then I can fit my nailer back in, and go. But what else? That's basically it. This isn't going to be a how-to video on how to do the hardwood. There's a lot of it out there. And the other thing is, when I bring my flooring in, the best way to do it is to lay them out a little bit ahead of you, not too close or in the way, and then space them like you like them, and try to keep the seams at least 4 inches, and then instead of it doing like a pattern going this way and all the way down, try to do randoms. Do a long board, a shorter board, whatever like that. Each side of the board has a tongue, out of focus, or a groove. And so when I go to the wall, for example, if I came up and the tongue is there, I'd have to measure from that. I don't want a huge gap. I might cut the tongue off. When I do the board, I may turn it around and mark it on my board at the tongue, and that'll give my automatic spacing, and then cut it. I'll probably do the chop saw in here because it's already pretty dusty, and I'll just vacuum each, after a little while. It's going to be a big time saver. When you're working by yourself, you don't have the helper to bring your boards, set your boards, move, you can just boom, 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 and go. When I'm by myself, I got to get up and move a lot. It's just going to be slow going. This threshold, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's got 3 screws in it. I want to pop that up. I got to undercut all my trims. This tile goes into that closet. I don't care, because if we do that room, that's going to be gutted out. I got to make all the baseboard out of pine. The kick, I'll probably make pine in black or plywood. Plywood makes a good kick. You can buy kick. It's really expensive for what it is. You just paint it black or whatever, finish it. And that's it. You can use rosin paper. You can use 15 or 30 pound felt paper. Pretty much anything. You can use some of that soundproofing for underlayment, like a laminate type floor. So if we were in a wet location, I probably wouldn't even use this. Some people say don't use a hardwood in the kitchen. I understand. I couldn't get by the plastic. I can't do vinyl and in my own home. I don't think it's longevity. The cost of it is, $3 and something a square foot, up to $4 for good stuff. And, I got this for $4. So $4 a square foot for hardwood is a no-brainer. I think what I'll do, we're going to have bar stools coming around here, and they're going to have a large base instead of 4 legs. So they are going to be protected on the bottom from scratching. A lot of the wear would be by your sink and dishwasher. Might drop a fork or your water dripping. I always had a throw carpet here anyway, like a 3x8. So I might buy another one and put it right there too. Dawson doesn't care for them. I love them. I don't have to have, shoes on. I can be in, just socks or slippers. And like I said, the heat would come out of there on cold mornings if you want it. And that'll protect this floor from, dropping and debris. The oven, I don't think I'll have any issues here. And then once we get out into this little hallway here, it's dirty because it's carpet and I've been working here. I brought all my boxes right here so I can pull them right off. I'll probably do a threshold at each room. I'll probably do a threshold obviously here, because in the bathroom, this is a room we're going to work on next. I want to put a new floor tile in there, and then we're going to come out onto carpet that I want to change to either hardwood or ceramic. And so that'll go, and that's all dusty now because I just tracked a bunch of stuff in here. And then thresholds, I think, at those 2 intersections. So let's get a start. It's a lot of talk. I'll probably film a little bit, or I'll do some time lapse. And I want to get the fridge pulled out, get the water disconnected. That's very heavy. So I'll roll it out, and then when we roll it back, I'll put it on a sheet of Luan or something I got, and we'll roll it in without an issue. And the other thing I was going to say is anywhere I put a nail and that I have to nail in the face, like when you get to the end, is I'm going to put a colored spot putty in that, so you won't really see it. Be like a wax type crayon. And the thresholds, if they don't work, I'll make them. Done that before, table saw work, because a lot of times you buy them and they're not the right size anyway. They're too thick, too thin, something's wrong with them. And so I'll be making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them in this room. So stay tuned for that. I might do a video on just thresholds. If you buy them, they're $30 and up, and a lot of times you got to put them in a table saw and make them to work anyway. That door, we're going to refinish that something. I'm going to wait till it's a little bit warmer. We had a couple days of 70, now it's back down cold again. So Good day to start the flooring. I'll do that when it's warm and I can paint it outside, whatever. And I'll probably do, that had a dartboard on it when I moved here, and I thought, why in the kitchen? So there's little tiny dings in it. And so I'll probably be sanding that down really well and using auto body filler, smooth it all out and paint it. Thought about replacing it. I'll probably throw a new threshold on it. And, you know, it's ugly, always ugly, but that little pet door is kind of handy in that. But let's get a start on this. Okay, I measured, got it square, straight. I kept a little gap on both sides. The short boards would never expand lengthwise very much. If it was a full room run, I want a 1/2 inch gap, at least a 1/4 inch, but I want enough for expansion. But over a 3-foot piece, we're good. I don't want to put quarter round or anything inside here. I can just caulk the edge if I want to. The first board I glued, I nailed the face on the back, and then I nailed the diagonal on the tongue with the 16 gauge nailer, 2-inch nail. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my membrane down on the first board. It doesn't matter, but now I'll go ahead and put this down, staple it down, and start our second course. And this one, I'll just nail through the tongue itself. I got the first 3 rows in with the finish nailer. Now I can go ahead and use the gun, and you just slide her up there. The hose is going to touch the wall, but we should be good. And then we just give it a love tap. Should drive it right in. I can't hold the camera too well doing this, but let's see how well she drives. So there I have it. 3 staples in that. Now I'm just going to piece this out. I'm going to keep a little gap around the edges, come out, and then I shoot my line down. I start from the other, come out, and start matching up. Well, there's that area. Now what I got to do is I got to come out. I got to lift up my tiles. I brought in a torch to warm them. I can use a heat gun or a torch. Warm them up, peel them up, put my paper down. I'm going to measure off the same way because these lined up nice. And then take up that threshold, start that way, come across the front, and hopefully they're going to line up nice. The other way to do it would be to go ahead and notch this one, which probably makes more sense. Notch this next one to go around that edge of that cabinet bar, and then shoot it across. So get a long piece, keep it square, measure, because like I said, these grids are lining up nice and square. Snap a line, measure backwards, make sure they're going to line up good. All right, I removed these tiles. It's real sticky underneath it, so I didn't want to go too far ahead of time, you know. And this is what we got. See, if we run the flooring all the way up, these trims are in the way. So we have to we flip it over. It's sticky, so I'm not going to flip it over. And you got to come in. But instead of cutting it really tight to that, it's going to make it hard to go in. I'd like to come up like a 1/16 higher, give you a little bit of wiggle room, or put a little thin spacer, a little piece of cardboard under it prior. And then I got to vacuum this out, but it's going to come up all the way to that door like that. And it's got to fit under and under so that you don't have to see a gap when you're done. And the same thing over on this side. We're going to do the same thing, and then it's going to finish up, not button the wall, but it's going to have that almost 1/2 inch gap. And so we got to undercut this trim. But because this closet I think is going to go away, I'm going to stop my flooring back here. So I cut my tile, and we'll keep that there for now so it doesn't look super ugly. And you know, I don't want to cut closet doors and all that stuff right now because I don't think it's going to stay. I'd like to you know, put a full bath in here would be better. It's a bathroom I hardly use because it's a half bath, so you know, wash your hands in there or something. But it'd be nice to make it a full bath, or 3/4 with a shower and not just a tub. But so anyways, I measured for my marks that we did over there, and here's my line, And so now what I do is I'll line up enough boards and I'll snap them together, and then I'll figure out what our first board's going to be. It's not going to be a new board. It's going to be whatever. And because the threshold I took out, see, that's just a piece of oak somebody made. See how they notched it around and everything. It doesn't have to go all the way touching the door. It just has to be under the threshold. But if I can get it, you know, pretty close to the door, that'll be fine. And then if it's a little half-inch piece, I won't put it in. If it's like 1.5 inches, I'll probably use it. So I'm going to put together enough boards to go over there so I can measure, start, get it square, and then I'll come out this direction so that when we get over to the fridge there, they'll line right up. So I got my cardboard down. It's a little thin spacer. And then I got my flooring upside down. Keep my tool flat. Just come in and cut. With a good battery. You got to put a battery in it. It wasn't a battery. On this tool, it's variable, and I had it all the way at 0. It's actually off. So just come in here and cut away. It's going to be loud. It's going to take a while, and I'm going to be careful that I keep it straight. I'll go ahead and cut all these out, and then I'll vacuum this mess up. Okay, so these cut pretty easy. The bit's nice and sharp. Now we should be able to take our flooring without a problem and go right in. See that? I didn't want to mess with this side because we can still see this. So our flooring will go there for now until I take this apart, and then this will be drywall and baseboard. Might be next year project. Things at home take a long time to do, you know. All right, and then, so here we go, bringing our flooring in. Now we can come all the way down and go under. See how pretty that's going to look? Nice finish off. Same thing over here. Might be a nail in that one, maybe. Nope. And then, there we go. So now I just got to get the little vacuum this up. We're going to stay away from that door about 1/4 inch. And we may not even need a threshold. May not even put one there. And then it'll come right across nicely. There'll be a baseboard here. And then when it comes up to the cabinets, it'll probably, I'm not sure if I want to do a shoe mold or a full base kick. It might look funny with a base kick on there. I don't think I want baseboard, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. So putting these together, looking straight down on my line, I got 3 boards together and there's 1.5 inches left. And so the first board, I can go ahead and rip it at 1.5 inches. And what I'm going to do is it should work if I go ahead and undercut that, if I do the first board as a full board. And the nice thing with that is it'll be a straight line versus putting 2 boards together worried about the first one tilting. This line is super important to be straight for my reference. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut the jamb, and I'm going to use a piece of this cardboard box plus a piece of hardwood upside down and go ahead and cut all these out so that I can go ahead and slide my first one in. And this sticky was to my advantage because these boards don't move. So you could glue them down, I guess, but in this case, I stayed right still to get my measurement, so that's kind of nice. So I ripped that first 1.5 inches, and we got a gap on both ends and against the door. And I slid my pieces together, and I'm right on my vertical mark. So if my math is correct, I can go ahead and finish bringing this floor out like we did it by the fridge. And then once we get to the front of the cabinet, we're going to keep about a 1/4 inch gap or so and head them across, and then they're going to join up. There we have it. Boy, that looks good, doesn't it? Pretty. I do like the multiple colors in it. And even on. I got to find a spot, but see, even the trim, we got lights and darks and so on. So this is going to look really nice, and it might look funny for a little while till we do away with this closet. But that wasn't in the budget right now. Once I start ripping this out, I got to build a wall. I got to do all that. I'm not ready to gut the bathroom, so that'll be next time. Once the kitchen is finished, I might just throw my zip wall up right here to, you know, keep the dust contained, and right here is a garage so all the debris can go right out. And so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just going to continue with my paper around. I got to take up more tiles. It's getting late tonight, so I'm just going to call her quits. I did my measurements back. Looks like they're going to line up really nice. So everything's going good. The flooring stapler works awesome. Boom, boom, boom. And once we get under these cabinets, we got to do the glue on the first strip, and then the toenail of the 18 gauge, this one. And then we'll go back to the stapler again once we get away from the cabinets. Well, I got to cross through here. Now we got to cross our fingers, our lines lined up. They look pretty close. So we'll bring this up. And we need to notch around this. Now I wanted this to go all the way to the subfloor. I didn't want it on top of the finished floor. And so now we just measure, it's not in there straight, but measure, and make our notch. And it looks like it's going to work good. We'll follow across, do the same thing. All right, there we go. Went right around it. Got a proper gap. Looks good. Lines up nice. All right, I went right around. Our lines are lining up nice. Just going to keep going right across the field here. Good so far. Here's my undercut jam here around this door. Bring our piece in. See that? How it all disappears. No caulk, no gap, no nothing. I tap it in, nail it. Looking good. I come out about 4 feet, a little over 4 feet, and now I can make a ramp and use a piece of plywood or something I got and roll the fridge back in, hook it back up. I do have to put a cover on that yet, and hook the water up. And I'm not going to worry about trim inside. Nobody's going to be able to see it. I probably will trim the front. I don't know. I may put quarter round shoe mold. I may come up with something, but right now I want to get the fridge back, get it out of the room, get the water hooked up. All right, I want to put the fridge back. So I put foam down and a thin sheet of plywood, ramped it, rolled it up, put a carpet there. It's got rubber on the bottom of that carpet so that I can roll it back in, lift up the front, pull the carpet out, and that'll keep any potential scratches down. Usually when you're doing construction, you know, you get sawdust, whatever, on the floor, it sticks to the rollers and might leave a skid mark, and I don't want that. So, but prior to that, to make sense, I'm going to take the back coil cover off, and I'm going to vacuum out the coils and get a bright flashlight, look in there, make sure it's clean. That's the last time I'm going to see it for a while. So I want to get it clean, and then of course dust off the top, and then wash the sides. This looks like when I did tiling, I got a little bit of mortar splash on it with a sponge, but that's a good thing to do. And then I'll hook up the water line, put my electric cover on, and then fridge should be all set. We shouldn't have to pull that out again. I vacuumed it out, and I used compressed air and blew any kind of fine dust off the coils, and hooked up the water line, put on my new outlet cover, and it's not leaking. The water's turned on, and so I guess now I'll just clean the sides and the top and roll her back in there. All right, I got her all cleaned up and rolled back. Putting those protectors on there doesn't harm the floor at all. And what I'm going to do next, it's pretty dark out, it's late, 9 o'clock, so we're going to start in again tomorrow. What I got to do is, I went just past on the paper, so now I got to heat up these tiles. And I don't want to take them up too far in advance. It's so sticky. Just lay my next course of paper and get going. We're right out in the open field, so this is going to move right along now. And then it's going to slow down when we get back to the cabinets, the dishwasher, and the stove. So I probably won't film much of that, but I'll bring you back when we got more accomplished. Well, here we are the next day. I want to show you the best way to remove these tiles. Hi, Tiger. Just warm them up, because these don't come up without breaking. They're just a bunch of pieces otherwise. This has really good glue down. Start your chisel. Here, how good that adhesive is. I'm really tugging on them. They don't want to come up. Ugh. Sometimes you got to warm them a second time, but that's how I put tiles down also, is I glue them and they stay down. Because you can't get them up otherwise without a whole bunch of pieces and even scrap behind. And then get on a corner and push. Good stuff. These tiles probably look pretty decent when they're new, and of course when they're mopped and cleaned and all that, they're not too bad, but I like the natural products better. This gives us a chance to inspect our subfloor, which looks really good. So we got 2 layers of plywood down here. Sometimes you got to do a little more. Don't want to catch my paper on fire there. I'll just keep prying. But that's the reason. That's the reason I'm not ripping all the floor up all at once. Is you're not going to be able to walk back and forth here. And so, what do you think, Ty? You like the new flooring? Yeah, I think he wants to go outside. The sun popped up. So, that's it. I'm just going to keep moving. We're into the field. When I come around the corner, I'm going to head it straight down the hall to the edge of the entry area. And once we get to the cabinets, it's going to take a little more work. Go in the opposite direction. So we're coming up next to this doorway. This is how much waste I'm getting. Like none. You see we got a 1/2 inch. So I turn the piece around, slide it all the way, come down and mark the tongue way out here. That gives us a 1/4 inch. Come over to the chop saw, slide it over, get rid of the line. We'll end up with almost 3/8 inch gap. Set her in there. Use a point on your hammer. Nail her off. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. I measure from my mark to here on both sides of the room, different spots. We're within 1/8 of an inch from our line from that side of the room to over here. So we're over 14.5 feet. We're 1/8 of an inch off. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I threw my laser on. I got to get a straight line down through there. So I'm going to either measure from that known point to my line there and there, maybe back it up a bit and shoot my line, or measure from the face of my tongue to my line. And then this green laser shines up nice. And then put a mark, and then I can, that board's just laying there, the long one. I can move it in and get it right on my mark. Attach that one, and then the sliver, like this one, I cut this off from that piece right there. Then I know where to put my tongue and groove on that one, so I can slide that back and nail that down. And that'll keep our proper spacing, and then when we go to put the baseboard on, it'll be all covered. So that's a tricky part, but the laser is going to help. String line's not going to work good. The paper's not laying down tight, but the the line should be nice and straight doing this way. All right, Dawson wanted to play around here. He knows the basics. I want him to be careful with it. He's never used this gun before. He's done, you've done laminates and vinyls, right?
Yeah.
Never did hardwood. And how you doing your last piece? Put it in there first. Is it long enough?
Yeah, just a little bit of waste, so.
What are you doing?
Gonna mark it on the end of the tongue.
Mark right up on the board so you can see it.
And then we're gonna go cut it.
And cut the line so it's got enough room. You don't have to go that slow. I showed Dawson a trick because we have to pry against this cabinet. So if you start it, get it in there a little bit further. And then if you tap it here while he holds it, normally it's about the proper length. Pay attention to your hammer. This doesn't always work. Is it tight?
Pretty tight.
Yeah, it's just a little bit loose. So, I wanted Dawson to help me a little bit so that he can say he helped. He's got schoolwork to do, but the floor looks good, don't it? Yeah. And that hallway, this turned out pretty nice. And what I did down here is I just took a piece of plywood I had out, that we cut out of the cabinets, made an end stop, and then all of these ends have a groove in them so that if I decide to run the flooring long ways in the hall out here, which I think I will, we've got a nice area for a tongue. So I think it's going to work pretty good. So the one we just cut off for the other end there, I bring it down to my board, line it up. It's got to be approximately here. We can't fit that tool in there now. It's so big. See, the hose even marked the wall when I come by it. So and I got the 16 gauge 2-inch nail, and I'm coming in, and you got to come in like this. Make sure you're lower than the top of this, and that way your nail won't be in the way. I got my pressure on about 100 pounds. And that holds them nice and tight. And then once we get over here, I'm going to throw these in for example. When I get over here, you see I'm going to get into the same thing. So we have a choice. We could either start face nailing this row, which is a bummer. We could get a drill and pre-drill all the holes and try to hand nail them in, which I might do. And a 90-degree drill could do it once you set it in place, but it isn't hard to just do a 45 nail through that. And then when you go to face nail, let me show you, hold on. Once we get over here, like at this board and this board, we're gonna have to face nail. And when we do that, we come up with the crayons, and this is wax. You can rub it in there, and once it dries, 5 minutes or so, you take one of these little scrapers, you scrape that off, and then you just wipe the top. Let me show you an example over here. See over here, I put some on that just a little while ago. You see it? I don't know if you can, but see, you just come in and then one, I think I got 4 there, one, and then come over to this one. So it makes it pretty much invisible. Look how pretty this is, right? Dawson helped do some of this tonight. Doing it when I get a chance. I got about 60 square feet left to do. And we've got 3 boxes of flooring. So 3 and a partial. So we should be in good shape. I think we're gonna have a few extra, which is good. There's a couple boards that have defects in them we're not gonna use, but this sure looks good. And remember I mentioned I wanted to put a bar right here and be under this light. And we're gonna have them pendants sitting here. And I got thinking it'd be nice to have outlets in the bar, but if we did that, then I have to drill holes through the pretty floor and come up through the bottom of the cabinets. And then the cabinets cannot move at that point. And what I'm thinking is putting a bar in here and just have it free floating. And that way if I or somebody else decides, you know, this is big enough room to have a sit-in table, put 8 people around it, then they can pull the cabinets out and actually put a kitchen table and chairs in here too. So I wanted that option. And so I think by moving the cabinets on around that side, these won't be that missed, you know. So I think just about probably another 8 hours I can have this done. But went out through that hall, went to the washroom here, laundry room, everything on around. And so once I get this completed, I can start on the thresholds and the baseboards. Stay tuned. Probably one more right there because heavy traffic area. I've been doing like 8 inches. What do you think of that tool?
Pretty cool.
Pretty handy. I've used the cleat nailers. They say you rent them, but you get them free when you get flooring at other stores, and you buy the nails. The little cleat nails, they hold well, but these staples, I think they do good because they have 2 different attachments. Hey guys, check it out. I got her done. Dawson helped me a couple times. And let's walk around and check it out. We went down the hallway here. We got our proper spacing. I got to make a threshold for that. But remember, that room we're going to remodel. That's a bathroom. It's a half bath. I want to make it into a 3/4. I just threw a piece of plywood on the end of that by that carpet thing there. That's going to be where the ceramic's going to go. And so I just put the protector for now. We're going to make a threshold when we're ready. Over here, this old laundry room, when I ripped up the threshold, I tore the linoleum there, which is okay because that floor is going to get changed. The doors are going to clear. Over here by the dining room, this is a pocket door, and this clears, so that's good. And we're going to do a threshold, and the wood floor is going to be out there. That old carpet's coming out. And then over here by the closet, got a nice big 5-foot closet here, but it's useless to me. So I want to make this wall solid. It's going to be a baseboard all the way across in the future. And so that's why I didn't run it there. We got the proper spacing around the cabinets. We went under the fridge all the way to the back. We came up to the doorway, and I'm going to do a little piece of quarter round against that door. We're going to do either quarter round or, I already told you, I think, baseboard around the end of the cabinets. We're probably going to have a black kick around the front. We went all the way behind the stove, and we just slid the stove back. And I think it looks great. And if you want to stand back here, now you can envision our picture. Can you see this? We got our gray. We got our old trim that matches the flooring pretty close. We've got our wooden countertop. I didn't want more Formica. I can't really afford the granite. The flooring I hated was the self-stick tiles. They were professionally put down years ago, and they come up hard, but they come up. And we're going to put the island here, so we're going to have 2 more cabinets. They're going to be 2 30s here. One is going to be a drawer cabinet like this, or a base, a standard base, and one's going to be a drawer base. And we're going to have our bar top. We've got to do our lighting, and see our backsplash lights, all of them came in. We put them up just now, finished them up. We got our outlets done. We got a USB on this side, USB on that side, a C and a standard. I probably want to do a little shelving up there, little shelving over here, little shelf there and there for little plants like that. We got this cooler we didn't even plug in yet, but it's there. It fits okay. If I don't like it, I'll put the door back on. We got our dishwasher. This works great. Looks good in here. Stove needs a little cleaning yet. Fridge still needs a little more cleaning, but I'm not too concerned. I've got to make the baseboard yet, so I'm going to make it out of the leftover pine, and I've got to do these bevel edges. The top has that bevel on them, and so I want to copy. That needs staining and sealer. Tell me this isn't coming together, right? Can you think of anything, Dawson? I got to touch up the wall. Right here's where we took the television out, and I just put some patch on that, and then I just got to sand that smooth, maybe another coat. I think there's 2 coats on it, probably a 3rd coat, and then we're going to have a couple pictures there probably. And then the kick, we got the base heater in, so now the grill, I got that painted, so we're going to cut out the kick, and then I'm going to put the grill on there. Because they're separate cabinets, obviously I need a kick instead of just a 1/4 round. And so that'll take care of that. I think because we have the stainless black going on, I think the black would really set it off with the black knobs, right, Dawson?
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to go for. And up here on this light fixture we haven't done, I'll probably be making the base for that. And we might do that in black too to kind of keep the same thing going on. And the hardwood, I think probably if they had stocked it and it's something readily available, and I got a good price on it, I would have went with like, you know, the 5-inch stuff or something. It'd definitely go down a lot faster. The 2 1/4, you will get less warpage out of it and so on. The expansion isn't quite so bad with it, but I love the colors, and it's like fits the age of the house. The garage door here, they threw darts. Dawson and I did a couple times too, but boy, this edge is sharp. So many darts had hit this. Not sure if I'm going to replace it. It needs a fire door. Anyway, it's a fire door. But I might stain it. I might paint it. I don't know. I definitely got to sand and smooth it. It does have a little pet door. It needs a new threshold at the bottom, a little sweep. But that's coming up. And I think I got a couple more outlet covers around the edge here. I got to do new ones yet. But other than that, I am getting excited that this is coming together. I do have one of the base cabinets put together, and the drawer base we got to put together yet. The bar top, we got one more we got to stain and finish. So I think that'll be great once it's in here. And like I said, look at this space. You know, watch me taking, you know, 3, 6, 9, 12. It's like 16 feet from here to there. Is it too far to walk? I don't know. This is my triangle, you know. So I would say it's not. And I think the biggest thing is getting that fridge off that wall, getting it over here. That gives us a place to bring groceries right in, either through the garage or the main door. Come right over here and throw them down. Put them in the food pantry. Put them right in the fridge. Have this the food side, whatever, storage. And then the workspace over here. This microwave, this vent works awesome. Doesn't it, Dawson?
Yeah.
That cranks. You can see that flapper open out there. So that's definitely going to help with burning toast or forgetting something on the stove. And getting the stove out of the island used to be here. And this is what I'd look at. I'd look at the laundry room or something. And you know, you got to turn around for the sink. And the other thing was, if you went down to get in the cabinet, your butt's like right at the counter. So I want an additional little bit of space. It has to be 36 or more. I would like maybe 42. I want enough that when I open up the dishwasher, that it's not going to slam into something else. But before, the stove opened up and this, and they went like this, bang, bang, and that's not good. Now, you know, we got a lot of room, you know. And so, I am coming together. Check out what Dawson made. He just made some brownies. We didn't even have the stove over there yet. And so he used the stove in the basement, but kitchen down there. We're going to have ice cream. He wants, what kind of ice cream is that?
Mint chip.
Mint chip and brownies. So that's his little reward for helping me finish up this afternoon. And I'm excited, guys. So stay tuned. You'll finally, see the finish. And this is a project in my house, so it always goes on the last, back burner. But if this was a customer, I'd been out of here by now. So follow along. I'm going to go take a rest, get a cold one. Thanks for watching.